Hello there, and welcome back to episode 4 now of the Poor Man's Road to Glory series we're doing on this channel. Hopefully, we can get into talking about the international break today. But first, I want to get into talking the Premier League predictions for the weekend. The first Premier League predictions we're going to do, finally, we got to it. I'm planning on doing these for every Premier League weekend, so this will probably be the most regular thing that we do. I'm just glad the international break is over. 2 weeks of it was it? And we'll get to see some football where the players seem to actually want to play. I'm quite unsure about having to watch United again though. Hopefully we can get a result against Brentford. I mean, we haven't been playing well for quite a while now, so... And we're having some injury concerns as well. I think most of which have cleared up now. It's just the fact that we haven't got a left back is still troubling us. But I feel like everywhere else on the pitch will be strong enough and we'll be able to get a result against Brentford. In terms of talking about the actual gameplay that's going to be going on behind this episode, it is a Ultimate Team series, so I guess I'm going to have to be talking about this every now and again, probably during the intros and maybe a bit during the outros, but this is our first full episode of Division Rivals. We got promoted to Division 6 last time, and we do end up struggling a bit in this episode, but we do end up getting our 15 points. Also end up learning this episode that you can actually go in attacking in the match. I just thought it was based upon what your tactical setup is like, but it's not. You can actually go defensive, balanced, and attacking mid-game. I don't know exactly how it works, if it's like the team press where it's timed, but I feel like I'm pretty sure it's for the full game. I think it's just, I don't understand why you can't do that before the game. I don't know. That's why I get the inkling towards that it might not be for the full game, but I don't know. The keeper movement and people parking the bus, I just need to get used to on Division Rivals. People parking the bus is like the main problem I need to get used to on how being able to break stuff like that down and trying to... I am pretty patient with waiting for them to try and move their keeper first, but even still, like, sometimes it affects your player's shot for some reason if the keeper's positioned in an awkward area. But yeah, if I finish my chances a bit better, get used to keeper movement, I think I've got down a bit better. And then parking the bus is the only thing I really struggle with. Going against people, it's so hard to break down a low block in this game. It always has been, and getting countered is so easy. Like, there's only so many times you can defend against a counter with 2 defenders against 3 attackers. So I actually got quite annoyed how many times I hit the post this episode. It was actually genuinely so annoying because I should have won a few more games. Well, 1 or 2 more games, and I shouldn't have drawn the game. I did draw a game this episode, which I shouldn't have drawn because I had so many chances to like put it to bed. But as we're here getting demolished by Kane, like, that's another thing. Some of these players have better teams, better players. I know Kane isn't the most meta player, but he's still like 90 rated striker. So every time you press circle with him, it just goes in. And like, I'm pretty sure this guy had like 5 shots and scored all of them. And we did try and nearly... Well, I guess you'll see it unfold, how the game unfolds. But we do bring a few goals back at least. There was one match as well where I was coming up against Mbappe, and I was beating that guy 1-0 the whole game up until like the 90th minute. He got 2 quick counter attacks and scored. Like, there wasn't much I could do against these counter attacks except for like not losing the ball. Defensively, I don't think there was much I could do to stop it from happening, and it was so annoying. Like, to get it taken away from you in the last minute like that is, honestly, I'm surprised I bounced back straight away, to be honest. On a normal day I would have just called it there, but I wanted to get it all in now, and I don't think Division 6 is even that challenging. I just need to maybe get some chemistry styles and like rough out the edges a bit. I was pretty outmatched like every game. Like, everyone seems to have a good team on FIFA all the time right from the start now. I know it's like 3 or 4 weeks in, but still, like, everyone seems to have OP teams and I can't even pack anyone useful. We do open some packs this episode. We should have both the division rivals and squad battles rewards ready for tomorrow though. And with, of course, the foot draft rewards if we do end up winning a few games. Hopefully too. I did open the objectives today. I probably should have saved it. You won't be starved of packs too much, hopefully. But I did. We do end up getting a fair amount of coins. So at least enough to maybe complete some SBCs like the marquee matchups. Hopefully we can do, and some other ones that are easy. Because I mainly try and complete the SBCs by myself and putting my own players instead of searching up how to do them online. So hopefully we get some packs from foot drafts, some packs from SBCs, and some packs from the rewards we're going to get every week. Hopefully we're able to then actually get something in those packs, or something worth some value, so we can upgrade the team tomorrow. That's mainly the point of those Friday episodes. They're going to be me trying to get the team upgrades, so we can have like an upgrade every Friday. Hopefully, I doubt I'll be able to keep that up with the luck I have in packs, but even if we get something worth some coins, doing SBCs are quite entertaining also. So let's get into actually finally talking about Premier League matches now though. I'll go through them in chronological order, which puts the Tottenham West Ham game first. I think this should go Tottenham's way, even though they couldn't convert their 2-0 lead against Brighton to 3 points in their last match. The week before, they absolutely completely demolished us, and I do think they play good football. Not exactly a big fan of how they play, but it is still very entertaining. Ange is obviously very stubborn with his in-game management, and I think that is his undoing. I think he's lost a few games now quite easily. You can tell through him not managing in the game. He sticks to his tactics, and eventually, like, I remember the main showing of this was in that Chelsea game where he was 2 men down, I think, and he was still playing at the halfway line, and like everyone was getting onto Jackson for missing so many chances, how it should have been so many more goals they lost by. But yeah, I mean, it's respectable to keep to your beliefs like that, but at some point you just gotta manage the game, because it's gonna affect your players. If you're gonna lose badly, you might just have to soften the blow and make sure that it doesn't affect your form, because that can actually derail your season. West Ham have come off a big win against Ipswich, but it is Ipswich and they're just a newly promoted team, so they won't be that strong. I don't think West Ham are full strength yet. I think they're still getting into the groove of their new manager's tactics after Moyes got sacked, so I don't think that they're full strength yet. So I think there's a few more months for them to start playing the way they want to play, I think. So I'll go with a 3-1 Tottenham win, as they also have home advantage in what you can probably... It is a London derby because they're both London-based teams, so I guess they might gain an edge from that. Next up, speaking of the Ipswich hammering... Oh, pun not intended, actually. I'm actually more happy with the fact that I picked up that was a pun rather than how good of a pun it was. But yeah, Ipswich got battered by West Ham in their last game, I think. And they're going up against Everton. They're both teams are kind of in danger of going down, but I'm backing Dyche Ball with this one. I think he'll be able to overpower Ipswich's somewhat, I guess, modern way of football. It seems like a lot of teams coming up try to play good football and it ends up backfiring for the team. At least Company did do it with Burnley last year and got the Bayern job from it. So I mean, maybe McKenna's gonna try that. He might get the United job. He was in talks of it. I doubt that, but yeah, I think Dyche will be able to get the win, like a proper 1-0 Brexit style win. But I also wouldn't be surprised if McKenna can get it done, but the team isn't strong enough, I don't think. And if they don't have goals in them, we've seen most of most promoted teams struggle to score goals. So that's usually the problem why they don't win games. And then there's individual errors from their lack of quality that lets them down, and that's probably what's going to happen with McKenna's team. I feel like they might lose 1-0 to a mistake, but yeah, I'm going with a 1-0 win for Everton that game. And the third match day of the weekend will be the one and only United versus Brentford. It's at Old Trafford, so I'm hoping we have the edge, especially against that Brentford. Like, they're on a streak in the last 3 or 4 games where they've scored within 2 minutes every single time. If we can get past that, I think we should be able to overcome them just off of the quality we have in our team. But the past few games, we haven't shown much promise. But with a break in play, hopefully, it's been a reset and we can get it done. We have had some injury concerns during the international break, but I think they just had knocks and are available to play on the weekend. Like, I think Garnacho had a knock, Ahmad had a knock, and Mazraoui had something going on with his heart, I believe. But I think they're all cleared to play now for Saturday. Ugarte probably won't be available to play. I think he picked up a knock or an injury, and I don't think he's ready to play. Maybe the next game, the Europa League game, I think our midweek game, he might be able to play, but Ugarte hasn't played much anyway, so I doubt that will make much of a difference compared to, like, as in making a difference between what we've been playing the last few games and what we'll do against Brentford. I doubt we'll have a left back fit. I think there's been some positive signs with Malacia. I mean, when Malacia comes back, it's going to be like that Ian Wright meme. Like, he hasn't played in long. To be honest, you could probably even fit that with Shaw because he still hasn't come back. He hasn't played a game for United since the start of the year, I think, in like January, February. But I think Malacia is closer to getting fit than him. Even without a left back, I think can get the win. Hopefully a comfortable 2-0 win, but we don't really have goals in us, so it is hopeful thinking to even try and think that we're going to get some goals, but hopefully we can get on the score sheet 2-0. Let's see if we can get some performances out of the players. Next up is what I feel. I think this will be an entertaining match, is Fulham versus Aston Villa. I've got Villa for this one. If they want to be considered top 4 picks every year, they will have to be winning games like this. Fulham do play good football, but both teams have come off not winning games. So I think Villa can win this game after coming back from the international break. It's always a bit of a reset. I do think it will be a good game though. So I'll go with a high score in 3-2 win to Villa. I do like Emery's style of football. They're good in transition, and in another video I might talk individually about each team, but let's actually go for finishing a topic for once rather than tangenting again. I'm gonna try and stick to actually predicting the score lines this episode. Fulham are home, so I mean it might be a bit of an upset and they might go for it, but I think because of Villa's good transition, I think they can open up Fulham quite easily. I think it will be an end-to-end game as well, because I think Fulham have got pretty good transition as well, so that'll be one to watch. Newcastle versus Brighton next, and this one's a bit iffy because I think Newcastle are the better team, but Newcastle have not been playing well the whole season because their defense isn't as solid as it needs to be for a top team. I think Isaac is also still out, so I think they're going to struggle to score. Brighton have also come off a big win against Tottenham, a comeback win from 2-0 down, which is, it's impressive. And I don't think that momentum will have faded over the international break. I think they'll push on with that. You'll have some confidence from coming back from 2-0 to 3-2. I haven't gone for a draw yet. I'm close to giving one here, but I'm gonna go with Brighton 2-1. Oh wait, It is at St. James's Park though, so I mean, I might flip that entirely and go with a 2-1 win for Newcastle. They're really good at home. I'm not quite sure about their home form this year, but their home form's always good. St. James's Park is a hard place to go to, so I'll change that to a 2-1 win for Newcastle. If they turn this around here, it might even eventually spur them on to winning a few games in a row, and maybe Isaac will be back by then and they can really like turn it on and get into the next gear. Southampton versus Leicester next. These are two newly promoted teams, which is always fun to watch. Because they are two newly promoted teams, I think this will be purely decided on form. So I think that gives it to Leicester based on form. Both teams losing to Arsenal between the last two games. I think Southampton lost 3-1 and Leicester won 4-2. So Leicester do have more goals in them, I guess. But Southampton also, they need to bounce back from 2 3-1 losses in a row. They lost to Bournemouth 3-1 and Arsenal 3-1. And considering one of those losses against Bournemouth 3-1, I think it's going to be hard to bounce back from that. And I don't think Bournemouth are exactly a strong team. So I think Leicester will have this one as a win. And just for one, I'll go for another 3-1 loss for Southampton. They might make it 3 in a row, which will be actually quite sad, to be honest. Speaking of both Bournemouth and Arsenal, actually, they're facing off this weekend as well, and it has to be Arsenal for this one unless it goes seriously wrong. I think Arsenal's defense will keep a clean sheet and score a few goals. So a 2-0 win for Arsenal, I think. And they need to get this win to keep us title contenders. They've taken a big hit with Odegaard. He's injured from international break, which is something I wanted to talk about, like the injuries the players get from international break, or something which I don't think is even... These friendlies don't seem like there's a point in doing these friendlies. I think it should just purely be qualifiers, but I don't think I'm going to have time to delve into that again. I guess the international break, talking about national football, is going to be an inside joke for us here, where we never actually get onto talking about it. But yeah, I don't see Bournemouth winning this. I would have talked about it a bit more. But Arsenal do need to keep the ball rolling and need to win this game. And if you're an Arsenal fan, you would want them to keep their form up until Odegaard gets back, because he's really integral to their team and how they play. Next, again, with another title contender, probably the eventual champions this year, they will be. It's another one-sided game with City. I think easily probably going to beat Wolves. Wolves, I think they're a good team. They manage Gary O'Neill. He plays good football, but it's just not working out for them. And I don't think it's going to end up switching for them against City. I don't think... It might be a hard start for the season for them. I don't know where they're going to eventually find form, but I don't think it'll be this game. I'll probably go for a 4-0 win, because I feel like Haaland always comes out firing after an international break, and I think he's just going to pile on them. And I think he'll add to his hat-trick collection this season, at least, with the match ball. So 4-0, 3 goals from Haaland, 1 elsewhere. I think... I don't see Wolves even scoring a goal. There's 2 games left and about 8 minutes of footage left, so probably a few more minutes on these last 2 games, and then I'll wrap it up talking about the actual game, Ultimate Team. The next game actually is probably the biggest game of the weekend in terms of 2 big teams facing up against each other. It's going to be Liverpool versus Chelsea, and it's at Anfield, so I'm leaning towards Liverpool. Both teams are in great form, but Chelsea's draw with Forest. This is a tough game, and I think I might go for a draw with this game if Chelsea did beat Forest, but because they didn't, and it's at Anfield, I'll probably go with a 3-2 win for Liverpool. Chelsea always seem to turn up against the big teams, and it always ends up being a good game when Chelsea face up against the big teams in the league. So I'll go with a hopefully entertaining 3-2 win for Liverpool. We haven't actually predicted a draw this week, I don't think. Speaking of a draw, I might just go with a draw just for the sake of having a draw here with Forest versus Palace. They're both alright teams, and I think I would have given it to Palace if it was at Selhurst Park, but it's not. So we'll probably go with our first draw of today, and I'll go with 1-1 Palace Forest. No goalless games this weekend, I don't think. Maybe the teams are just a bit loose defensively after the international break. You know, it's hard to keep concentration, especially after being away for like 2 weeks. That's all for the predictions for today, though. I wanted to talk about the international break, but I guess over the 3 videos now, I've spoken about it here and there enough. Might just add to it here because I think I could get a few minutes in to talk about it. But it's mainly talking about the injuries it causes, especially when players are going out to play friendlies most of the time. And in this case, where they played in the Nations League, I think it's going on right now, where it doesn't seem like anyone's fully engaged. So it's almost as if they're getting injured for no reason. They're playing games that don't really mean anything. It either needs to be scheduled better or just removed. If we're talking about the Nations League, I don't know why we don't just turn that into like a legitimate league with divisions where the best teams play the best teams and the worst teams play the worst teams, so you can actually get some engaging football out of it, some competitive football. I don't think anybody even cares about the Nations League. It's not the same profile as a Euros or a World Cup, and we have enough tournament football on the national level already, so making a league format might help with the engagement. They've got to do something because players are getting injured. Like I already spoke about, Odegaard is missing for Arsenal now. I'm pretty sure he's out for pretty long. And Lamine Yamal got injured the other day, I think, on international duty for Spain. So it hurts the big clubs, and especially if you've got one of your best players on international duty in a club where, like in the Championship for example, where it's going to be most likely one of your best players going on international duty, it can probably ruin the season for them. So it needs to be looked at least. I think maybe less games, less friendlies, maybe just eliminate friendlies completely and do something with the Nations League and properly sort it out. But it needs to be toned down because you can see it affect the level of play after the international break. And when teams are paying players to play for the club, and I know it's a personal choice to go and play for your country, and some countries are more passionate about international football, but as a club fan, you want the players to prioritize playing for the club, especially when you're playing at the very highest level. So it hurts to see when they get injured on international duty. It's not good for any party there. It's not good for the players getting injured. It's not good for the club getting their players injured, and it's not good for the national team, because it's also a hit for them. So I think you should be able to maybe, I guess, give the clubs more power, but the players as well is kind of a personal choice. So you can't really do that and have it that the clubs can say they can't go on international duty or limit their minutes. But I guess limiting their minutes, give them some leeway with that perhaps, so that they don't get injured. I know back in the day, Sir Alex Ferguson used to tell the players to just not go on international duty, and they'd listen. That probably won't won't be able to happen now, but you can probably have like a talk with your manager and try and limit your minutes, or if it's not worth it, the medical team or something, just to prevent injuries. I just want to round up the episode now. What's happened in the episode. We've got 16 points within, I think, 8 or 9 games. We've got 3 red cards in those games, so it did take some extra time for us to get the Ben White evolution done, but I think we got it done. We also hit the post about 6 or 7 times, which was annoying, but hopefully on the Friday episode we can get some chemistry stars in and like help, and that might help with getting players higher stats, like higher finishing on Nunez. I think he's still got basics, so if we get some extra finishing on him, should be able to score more goals with the attackers at least anyway. So hopefully we can get the edge with that, and it makes a difference and actually helps us win the closer games, and then speed up the process of like getting people to rage quit as well. Because I think in Division 6, I think I'm a pretty good level of player for Division 6, and we should be burning it through it quicker than we actually are. But we did open some packs today as well. Only got Nkunku really, which I was thinking about keeping, but we've got Szoboszlai there, and we need a set piece specialist, so I did end up selling Nkunku. It's probably better off to sell players like these early, because they're always more expensive at the start of the year, and then their prices usually drop around 1 or 2 months in as more cards come out and upgrades come out. We end up with around 28,000 coins to play with for the SBCs on Friday. Then we got the division rivals, Division 6 basic rewards, and probably around gold for squad battles on top of the FUT draft rewards. So hopefully we can pack something. If not, we should have more coins in the we should have more coins by the end of those packs, and we might be able to spend some money on the team, whether it be chemistry stars or buying a player. Time's run out for today now though, so that's all for now, and I'll see you in the next episode. Farewell, my friends.